came here to learn and about behaviour and everything. I love Jamia.
I like Jamia because I want to come here and I want to become a Murabbi. This whole week has been really fun. We've learned lots of stuff.
I think the class has been amazing this year, especially because of the sports activities. It helps us out in our spiritual side and our life to come, preparing us for harder situations.
It's quite interesting because we're learning new ways to become more like pious, to become more humble, to answer people's question who want to ask about Ahmadiyyat, because you see in this world, you know, so many people are thinking all Muslims as terrorists, but if us Ahmadis learn how to stop them and make them believe that Ahmadis are like the right path, Muslims are trying to go to the right path, and then this world will believe that we are not terrorists, we are actually Muslims trying to make the world a better place. And the food here is actually amazing. They made Chinese, pasta, biryani, they were all really nice. All of the Jamia students are really nice, the Khuddam, and everyone here is really good, the Murabbis. All of this is really nice, and every morning we wake up for Fajr, and then we're also allowed to go out for jogging, and then in the afternoon we can go for sports, either badminton, basketball, football, and this is really fun. I quite like this.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jamia Ahmadiyya UK was established in 2005 by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Khamis Ayyadullahu Ta'ala bin Nasrihi al-Aziz in Collierswood. The second inauguration of the new campus in Hayzume was in 2012, again by the hands of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Khamis Ayyadullahu Ta'ala bin Nasrihi al-Aziz. This campus, Branksome Place in Hayzume, is the very campus which is used for the annual spring retreat, in which Khuddam and Atfal are called from all over the country in order to participate, to improve their education, their spirituality, their health, their brotherhood, and their understanding of the Jamaat. At the spring retreat, we have the age groups between 14 and 19-year-olds, where Atfal and Khuddam have a set plan of classes, lectures, sports, and of course, everything revolves around the prayers.
We're just going to take a look at the lessons that are going on right now. The course that the students get to study throughout these days is basically a simplified version of the Jamia course itself. So those students who are taking part, they get to learn basically what a student would learn in 7 years but condensed in just a week. So they're really lucky to have this opportunity. So let's just go into the Nur class right here we have. And of course you can see that they're having a lesson. So just inside.
Without this.
Assalamu alaikum. So I believe this is Nur class, as you can see. They're all ready, and we have our teacher over here, Dil Shah Sahab. They're learning Kalam, which is basically the knowledge of argumentation, which is basically talking about how to answer the allegations alleged against the community and alleged against Islam. As you can see that they will have the syllabi, which has been prepared beforehand this year, printed as well, and I think they're all taking their notes as well. So are you guys enjoying the lesson?
Yes.
Jazakallah. Okay, so as you've noticed, this year and every year we split the classes up into different groups, and the reason for this, as always, is that the students, when they're in smaller groups and with the smaller quantity of people, they feel more confident and more comfortable to ask questions which they probably wouldn't be able to ask in a bigger group. And one of the purposes and the roles that the Tarbiti class or the spring retreat would fulfill is to answer those questions of students which they couldn't ask probably the elders in their society or feel ashamed to ask. So we provide for them an environment which is just their friends and young teachers who would understand them, so they can feel comfortable in asking any question they feel they need to ask. So now we're coming to our next class, which is Ahmad class, and again it's just another class. As you can see, we have Mubashir Zafri Sahib inside. He's teaching. If you'd like to come inside.
Next question, who was the wet nurse of the Prophet after his ibadah?
So we have Zafri Sahib teaching, I believe he's teaching history of Islam. And of course we a lot of our teachers,
Please carry on.
with a lot of effort they put in, they've prepared a presentation for the students on the screen. And they've also given out handouts beforehand. And as we see right now, Mubashir Zafri Sahib, who's teaching history, he's just asking some basic questions to the students. And this is the one way they revise in their lessons. And Mubashir Zafri Sahib, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'm just doing a little test from yesterday's presentation, just seeing how much the kids revised. So
Okay.
that's pretty much it.
Okay, Jazakallah.
The last question, what are you guys?
So we have 4 more classes ahead of us here, which is normally in Jamia. This is the junior section area, right? And we have now next nursery class over here, and they seem to be just a little bit younger. And inside here they're teaching Quran, so that's how to pronounce the Quran, read the Quran. A lot of the children that come here, they might not know how to read the Quran, and that could be for them an embarrassing situation. So we tend to start from the very beginning, from the very basics, so nobody feels left out, nobody feels afraid. So we're just going to go inside here as well. Assalamu alaikum. So as you can see, they're starting Welcome salam. They're starting from the very, very basics. They're just looking at the vowels. Next classroom is the Mahmoud class, and inside is Nasr Arshid Saab. Let's just go inside and see what they're doing. So, as we can see, the students are being shown the tour of Huzur in Canada. And one thing that we emphasize in every spring retreat is the importance of Khilafat and why they need Khilafat in their lives. So the one way of instilling the love of Khilafat is of course showing him physically where he's been, what he's achieved around the world. So this is just one example of that, what the students are doing right now. Not only do the teachers keep to the textbook way of teaching, but they show visuals and videos and audio, because of course the generation these days is attracted towards this.
To the beloved Khalifa, Huzur addressed the gathering and advised the Jamaat about celebrating their 50th anniversary during this Friday sermon.
So we're now going to the Masroor class, who are also quite young. And as you can see, that this group is, as you will see very soon, that it's a really small group. And that's really ideal for them as well, that they can feel like a small group asking any questions they want to ask. Let's just go inside and see what they're up to. Assalamu alaikum. So Talat Saab, I believe you're teaching Tartil al-Quran?
No, I'm teaching history of Islam.
So Talat Saab, he is actually a teacher for Tartil al-Quran, but at the moment he is taking the history subject. So Talat Saab, could you just tell us a bit about what you're teaching the students?
So right now we're studying the life of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And we've just gone through the introduction of the character of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and how he was when before his prophethood and after his prophethood. And yeah, we're just having a small question and answer session.
Okay. So you're having a little question and answer session to make it more interactive. So how many of the students how many of you guys have learned something new over these 2 days? Just these 2 days that have passed, you've learned something new that you didn't know before. So it's quite obvious that every day these students are learning something new which they didn't know before, and it's benefiting them a lot. Jazakallah. So now we're going to Tahir class. And we have quite an interesting lesson in here, I believe, at the moment, which is known as Islamic knowledge. And for me personally, if I had the chance to be taught this lesson when I was young, I would have given anything. Because the topics that we cover in this lesson, such as atheism, and all of those issues which are the issues of this age, they are tackled in a very logical and contemporary manner for the youngsters to understand. So let's see how they are going and tackling this subject. Assalamu alaikum. So we have Mustafa Saab in here, and they're teaching at the moment the existence of God and things relating to why God exists, and accusations that atheists would normally pose. Questions like why is there suffering in the world, for example. And I believe that's what they're covering right now. Normally in schools, when the children are asked these type of questions, and most of the time they fear away, they don't know how to answer those questions. So that's why we believe that it's really important to arm the youngsters with the answers to these questions. So Mustafa Saab, could you just tell us a little bit about what you're teaching them and how you're going about doing that?
One of the most popular, I think, objections we have from atheists is why suffering exists in the world. We, on a level here in the Tibeti class, can have conversations about our relationship with God, experiences we've had with God. It doesn't mean everyone here has that belief in God. But when in schools we meet people who, on the most basic level, don't understand the existence of God, we find it difficult to explain our faith to them. And then when they bring along people who don't believe in God or people with atheist objections against God, sometimes we find it difficult to explain our faith if we can't explain this most basic thing, which is increasing in popularity in society. So we thought, I thought in this lesson, Islamic knowledge, before moving on to things like the pillars of Islam, we'll address a really basic topic, which is actually gaining a lot of popularity in society, which is atheism.
Okay, Jazakallah. Now we have just one last classroom left, and normally you would think that in a spring retreat or in a Tarbiyati class, you would just cover religious topics, but we have also contemporary topics or topics that are really relevant to today. So one lesson that we have going on right now is social studies, also social media. So because of course we have a lot of social media outlets now, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we need to know how to use that to the best of the advantage for our community, for the Jamaat. So they're just teaching the pros and cons of social media in this lesson. Let's go and take a look at what they're doing. And these the students who are in this class, they are those students who have attended before as well, the Tarbiyati class. So this is something new that they probably didn't learn last year, something, an addition, something that they might find interesting. And of course, every year we will try to add lessons for students who have been there last year as well.
Now, I want to ask you, do you understand the impact of social media?
So we just have Hazik Saab over here who's teaching social media to the youngsters.
Yeah.
It was in my school, we had an assembly, and in it they said there was someone.
So as you can see, it's an interactive session where Hazik Saab is not only telling them, but of course there's a video on the screen and he's asking the students questions as well. So Hazik Saab, could you tell us why it's important to have this lesson and why we need to teach the youngsters about this topic?
What we want these youngsters to do is to understand, and most of them do understand social media, but how we can use it to minimize the risk and make sure that we use it to propagate the true message of Islam and to defend Islam wherever possible and be the helpers of Khalifatul Masih. So that's what we're trying to establish in a very humble way today.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
The process of learning should never end. It is a lifelong objective of a Muslim, and it should be. This is a responsibility we should always be kept in mind.
Fatih Ahmed, Hafiz Hamad, Mutahir Mubashir.
गाहे ज़ीशान खैरुल अनाम शफीउल वरा मर जाए खासवाम बसद जिज़ो मिन्नत बसद एहतराम ये करता है अर्ज़ आपका एक गुलाम के ऐशा है को नैन आली मकाम अलैका सलातो अलैका सलाम अलैका सलातो अलैका सलाम